Okay, so in the previous class we installed Cloudera Manager and we were up till the point where we were able to see our Cloudera Manager UI, right? So today we will take it forward and we will be installing the CDH or the Cloudera distribution for Hadoop. So today probably we'll see that we have the Hadoop services also installed. We'll not be going into the uh, understanding of services today itself. I would still want everybody to be at the same page. Okay, so this week is like it's like a time given to you so that you can also install your clusters. Okay, and by the time we start the next class, I would I would want everybody to have their clusters ready. But if there is some problem, probably the next class we will have a troubleshooting session, and you guys can share your screen and we can troubleshoot your issues. Okay? But I would expect everyone to at least be able to create or at least try that. Okay. All right. So
Well,
yeah.
hello.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, hi. I sent a request. Actually, I for
Request
the
for
drive
access,
to
right?
open it up.
Request for
Yeah,
access, right? I've given it just now. Just check it.
yeah. Okay, I'll check it that one. And I have a little bit issue with my laptop, which I'm gonna be update on Wednesday. Some memory which you told me the last class, and that's the reason actually I couldn't download
Why?
that much. I'm a little behind on that. Hopefully by Wednesday,
Hmm.
uh, I will be catch up with whatever you are doing it on that. So it might I need some help after Wednesday. I will text you maybe then whatever I need to follow up from there.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's start our instance. So last time I think I didn't tell you that you have to stop it. Okay, so that's make it a habit of stopping your instances once you are. Otherwise, it will keep on costing. And this version T2 Modex large is going to cost us on an hourly basis. Okay, so I'll be starting it now. In the meantime that it's getting started, let's go to security group and change the rules. Okay, so let's started and let's connect to it and check if cloud has come up. Okay, uh, let's check the Cloudera manager has come up or not. Okay, so Cloudera manager is also up now. So I'll just log in. So the next step is, once you have the Cloudera manager up, now you should create a Hadoop cluster, and for that we have to deploy the CDH version. Okay, so CDH 5.15.2 is the one that we are going to install. So just follow what all steps the Cloudera manager is asking. So this is just a license. I will accept it here and click on continue. Okay, so now these are the three kind of versions. The three kind of I can say additions which are available with Cloudera Manager. One is in Cloudera Express, which is totally free and anybody can install it and use it. But the things that are not included with it are some advanced Cloudera Manager features, Navigator, and Cloudera support. Now, Cloudera support is something that if you want to contact the Cloudera guys in case when there is some issues, so that's basically a different thing. Okay, but these three are some extra features that Cloudera provides and that can help us uh, while troubleshooting, while checking the status of the cluster, all these things. The next is an enterprise trial version that's for 60 days. It's free for 60 days, and after that, you'll have to pay them. But this at least comes with all the extra features. The support is still not there because that's an extra thing that has to cost something. So for this duration, I think 60 days enterprise Cloudera is fine for us. So we'll be using this second edition. Okay, the 60 days trial. I'll just select it and continue. Okay, so now it says we will be installing 5.15.2. Now every version of Cloudera Manager. So this, if you check this version that we have installed of Cloudera Manager, it's also 5.15.2. So this version of Cloudera Manager only supports the CDH version less than or equal to 5.15.2. You cannot install a version which is greater than 5.15.2 when when the Cloudera Manager's version is 5.15. So the actual version that you can install of CDH depends upon the version of Cloudera Manager. Okay, so these are the services which will get installed. These are all Hadoop services and Hadoop components. You can just take a look of these right now, but we will be discussing them in detailed manner one by one. Okay, so starting from HDFS, Yarn, MapReduce, HBase, Zookeeper, Uzi, Hive, Hue, Impala, Sentry for security, then Scoop, Spark. Okay, so all of this we will be discussing separately and in a very detailed manner. But right now we just need to install them as a cluster. Okay, so let's click continue. Okay, so on this page, it is actually asking for all the hosts that you want to create a cluster of. Okay, right now we just have one host which is available. So we'll be just be copying the private IP of this host and give that as an input to our Cloudera manager. Okay, it will check once we give it, so you can have multiple hosts given. So you can each line you can give multiple hosts. Right now we don't have them, but yes, we will be adding two more hosts as part of the cluster. But right now we just have one host. We'll just search it and select it for adding to the cluster, the CDH cluster. Okay. So once you search for it, it should come up like this. Although it's saying currently managed, since we already have uh, Cloudera Manager agents installed. So we will just select it and click on continue. Okay, so on this page it's asking me for now it's asking me for the location from where it will fetch the packages or the parcel. So there are two ways through which you can install the CDH versions. One is either using parcels, other one is packages. There's a slight difference, but we don't need to go into that intricacies. But we'll be using the parcels thing, and instead of providing the Cloudera manager's repository, because the again thing that okay, so why did we created that local repository last time? Okay, so we created a local repository for the Cloudera manager and its packages. Right, this is our local repository for the Cloudera manager. Similarly, we will be creating for this Cloudera package also. Okay, so we will be downloading it on the same server, and as I told you in the previous class also, the location from which this HTML or this HTTP is reading all the packages is var www HTML. Okay, so basically any folder that I keep it in here, that will appear in here. And so we will this time be creating another directory named cdh5 into this, and within that we will have this parcel. Basically we are trying to replicate this location. If I just open it, this is the official Cloudera location where it keeps the packages. So these are all the different versions of packages available with Cloudera, but we will be, since we are using only the parcel thing, so we will only be downloading the parcel from there and keep it in our local repository. Okay, so I'll be making a folder cdh5 and then parcels, and this is like a replica of how you see it here, cdh5 parcels. Okay, once we make it, we'll go into that folder. So now you can see in this folder we have cdh5 also. I will go into cdh5. There's a parcels folder within it. I will go into parcels. Next thing is we will download these three packages that is related to the Cloudera manager, sorry, the Cloudera CDH or Hadoop versions. So we will use wget to download these three. It will take some time because it's around 1 GB, I think. Yeah. Now, now you can understand the reason why I'm focusing on a local repository. Okay, so the reason we focus on it because I don't want every time to download this 1 GB package from the internet, 2 GB. As you can see over here, it's around 2 GB. So every time downloading it, and for every new host that we'll add, that's not a good idea. Okay, and that's the reason we have been using a local repository like this. Okay, so we'll have to wait for some time that it's getting downloaded, and in the meantime, what we can do is, so once it will get downloaded, we don't need to create a repository this time, because that will be done by our Cloudera manager here itself. Okay, but once it's done, so now we have this CDH5 parcels. This is getting downloaded, but once they're downloaded, we'll be using this URL, and we will be supplying it to this more options, or which location should the Cloudera manager check for the parcels. So in this more options, you will see it's actually having some URLs over here, right? So these are all archivecloudera.com, CDH5 parcels, all those things that is basically present on the archive Cloudera page. But instead of it, I'll remove all of these URLs, and I will be pasting my local repository. And again, so this is a public IP address, since right now this is all being uh, like done at the server level, so we have to use the private IP instead of that. So I'll replace this public IP with private IP, and let's keep it like this here, and we will save it once our packages are downloaded. It's telling me for another 13 minutes. So let's wait for it to be downloaded. Okay, in the meantime, what we have to do is, so there is one file on each host that's called etc host file. Okay, let me show you the contents of this file first, and then I'll tell you what exactly that is used for. Okay, so let me cat the contents of etc hosts. So right now you can see something like localhost 127.0. Okay, so by default, every host, if it wants to contact itself, right, it can contact itself on either this IP address, which is basically the private, or it can use a local host or a local host IP, which is this. So by default, every server's own a local IP address would be 127.0.0.1. Okay, and this is basically the host name. So how a host is identified is basically by either a host name or an IP address. But if it wants to identify itself, it can identify itself either by a host name called localhost or an IP address of 127.0.0.1. Now, when we are creating a cluster, we should tell every host what exactly will be its IP address and what exactly will be its host name. Okay, so what we have to do is basically in this file, every time we will be adding a new host to the cluster, we will be providing the IP address of that new host and its host name. So right now, what I'm going to do is I will be passing that information for this host itself. So its IP will be private IP like this. I'll paste it over here, and its host name will basically be this IPv4 DNS. So we'll paste it here. You can check the hostname from this command as well, hostname -f, which is this. I think we have just copied that itself. Yeah. And if you want to check the IP address, then you can check from here, -i, hostname -i, which is basically the private IP address over here. Okay, so now we have added this entry to the etc hosts, and what the reason that we add such entries is that whenever I am going to perform an action on this host, my host will check this file and understand the exact IP address and the host name of it. So that's basically for resolution of your IP address to host name or your host name to an IP address. So every time we will be adding a new host in the cluster, okay, in that case we have to ensure that that host IP address and host name should be mentioned in the etc hosts file. And this will be done on all the hosts. Okay, let's see what is the status of it. It's again taking another 6 minutes. Isa, are you there? You're able to see the screen now?
Yeah, I think like it's my laptop issue. Anyhow, my headphone wasn't working with that
Okay,
laptop, but now it's working because my I opened up my phone as well and my laptop both.
okay, all right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think we'll have to wait for another 5 minutes. You guys, if you want, you can take a break. Let this complete and we'll start off from there. Okay, so let's check it. I think all of them have been downloaded. Yeah, I can see the parcel file. Then we have this SHA file. This is basically a security check or a check of the file itself. And then this is a manifest.json, which is basically a file format used by the UI. So this UI will actually be checking the JSON to show us the versions on the UI. Okay. So since we have these three packages now, I'll just save this URL, which is my local repository. Let's check it over here also if they're appearing on the UI. Yeah. So all three of them are appearing in here. So that means our URL is ready, and I'll save it. So now you'll see only CDH 5.15 is being shown because that's the only thing that we have placed in that URL. Okay, so we have already selected it. We'll click on continue. Okay, the same status that you see in here, you can also check from the server. Now, anything that is happening in a service within a server will be printed in a log file. So there is a file for each service. It's called a log file. Right now I will go to the Ambari. So cd/var/log. Now this folder is the one where you will find a folder for each log, each folder. So right now we'll go to the Cloudera SCM agent. I'm sorry, I'm keeping on saying it the HTTP versions. So yeah, so we'll be going to the Cloudera SCM server folder, and within it you'll see some files. Now I'm interested in this log file. This will tell me what is currently happening, because from this UI I cannot see the complete status, right? I can see some information about what is happening, but if I want to in real time check, what I use is a command called tail -100f and the file name. Now this is going to print out the last 100 lines that are currently being printed to this file. Okay, so somewhere it says 90% complete, so that means it had downloaded properly, and now it's doing the part of unpacking. So if we instead of this info, you would see somewhere that some error, okay, is being printed out, that would say that okay, something is wrong. But right now I don't see that it's working properly. Okay, so I think installation is fine now, and it's appearing green. We can continue from here. So this step, it's checking my host if there is no vulnerabilities, which is expected to not be there. Okay, and if anything, it will tell me on the UI. So yeah, now it has reported me of two problems in my host, these two. So I will try and fix them. Now, one of the problem it's saying is that there's a concept of swappiness. Okay, in operating system, there is a concept of swappiness. That basically means uh, if let's say your memory is getting filled up, your RAM 8 GB is getting filled up, then it will start using the disk's space as a virtual RAM. Okay, it will consider the disk, some portion of it, as a virtual RAM or virtual memory, and that process of considering your disk as a RAM is called as swappiness. So basically, you are swapping or replacing some disk memory with a RAM thing. So this is a concept of operating system, but when you're installing Hadoop, by default this setting is around 30. But 30 means that around when there is only 30% or some fraction of it being RAM being available, then it will start using the disk. But we don't want to have swappiness as much as possible, and that's why we'll be reducing its value to 1. The maximum you can do is around 10 as recommended by Cloudera, but we'll try and keep it at the value 1. Okay, so we'll go into this file etc sysctl.conf. I will vi or edit this file, and within this, the value that we're going to add is vm.happiness equal to 1. I've also mentioned this on our file. Okay, so the manual way is basically by running this command, but I want to do it permanently, so I'm editing this file and I'm adding this value vm's happiness equals to 1 like this, and we will save this file, and to reload this change we will be using this command sysctl-p. It's saying that vm's happiness is not there. Let me check. Okay, somehow it's saying vm's happiness is not there, but we have set it up in the file. Let's see if this will pick up. Okay, the next issue is it's asking me for something called a transparent huge page. Okay, by default, all of this is a kernel level or an operating system level issue. By default, it's saying it should be disabled. Okay, so the defrag thing should also be disabled, and this property should also be disabled. So how we will do that? So there are two commands to use. I mentioned that on the document as well. You just have to do echo. So this will print never at the end of this file. Okay, so I'll run this command here. Whenever you get time, you can read about this command as an operating system information. Okay, it will be good for your understanding. Alright, so once I've run these two commands, now I expect these two should also become green. So I will run this inspection again. Okay, so now everything is appearing green on this page. So that means everything is fine on our new host, and we can proceed further. Okay, I'll finish it. Now, once we click on finish, now it will move for the. So our host is added now, and now it will proceed with the services installation. Okay, so for now I'll be starting the core Hadoop components. Only the HDFS, Yarn, Zookeeper, Uzi, Hive, and Hive will be installed. And these services, basically Spark, Impala, and HBase, these three will be needed by us, but we'll install them as and when required. Okay, so we'll just be selecting the core Hadoop services, and we will move ahead. Not selecting this for now as well, and we'll move ahead. Click continue. Now for each service, it will ask you for a certain host. Right now everything is going to be installed and on that one host itself. So we'll keep it as it is for the five services, and click continue. Now databases is where it's going to store the information. As I told you in the last class, we are using the embedded database of the Cloudera itself. We are not using any external database. So all of this is automatically generated by Cloudera Manager, the username and the passwords. But when you are using an external database, in that case, you'll have to provide manually. Okay, so if you select this custom databases, you might have to provide everything by your own. But since we're using an embedded, what you see in here, everything will be automatically generated. So we'll test these connections. Yeah, everything appears good. Click continue. Now you can see everything is being done from the UI. The most of the part we don't have to do on the server level. Okay, because now everything is being taken care by the Cloudera manager itself. Okay, we'll not discuss these properties for now, but we'll discuss them as and when we discuss about each service, starting from HDFS. So let it be as it is for now. Okay, continue. So now it has started with the deployment of services, Hadoop services basically. But this order is pretty good to understand how Hadoop functions. So you can see it is starting with the Zookeeper. Then it moved on to HDFS, Yarn, Hive, Uzi, Hue. This order is sometimes asked by your interviewers also. But so the understanding you can get only once we have discussed all these services. But for now, you can just keep this order. You can just try and remember it. So everything should start with a Zookeeper. Okay, so once your Zookeeper is ready, then you can start your HDFS or the storage component of the Hadoop. And only after that, your computational components, which are basically Yarn, Hive, these two should be started. Uzi will be a scheduler of job. Hue will be a UI or a client. Okay, so these two you can start only once everything at the computation and the storage level is up and ready. But yeah, Zookeeper is important to one thing to remember here, that your services should start from a Zookeeper. Okay, let's wait for it to complete. You can track what is happening within a service by opening the shells. So it will print out the logs and everything like this. It is telling you what is happening in the server level. Same information you can get from the host also. So this is done now. It's moved on to Hive. Okay, so I think our services are now ready and installed. Yeah, let's click on continue. So it says services are installed, configured, and running in your cluster. Although it's not a cluster yet, we just have one node uh, as part of the cluster. So basically, this is how your cluster would look like once you have your services installed. Your services will appear on the left hand side. So these are all Hadoop services. What do you see? HDFS, Hive, View, Uzi, Yarn, and Zookeeper. On the bottom, this is basically the Cloudera management service, which is keeping a track of all these graphs, their information, or whatever you see, all these health issues that you see about each service. Okay, all of this is being monitored by the Cloudera management service. And if you want to check various other information like what all cluster is being managed, so you can have Cloudera manager manage multiple clusters. Okay, just like you can see right now there is cluster one. You can have more clusters also being managed by this Cloudera manager. And if you want to check all the hosts which are there in the cluster, you can do that from here. If you click on all hosts, it will tell you all the hosts which are there. Right now, I just have one host, so that's why it's coming like this. Again, it also gives you information about what is the current disk available, what is the RAM available, okay, all these things. We are not a cluster yet because we just have one node, but yes, to make it as a cluster, we should at least have 3 nodes in a cluster. And the reason that we are using this number 3, why not 2, why not 4, that will become more clear when we discuss the HDFS service. Okay. But yeah, for now, we should have at least 2 more nodes added to the same cluster. And for that, we will use this add new host to the cluster wizard or button. Okay. In the host section, this is in the host section. And I will click on this. Now I need to add few more nodes. So I'll just click continue. Now in here I should provide the 2 more IP addresses. So now what I'll do is I will create 2 more hosts which are similar to my running this host. Okay, I will create them as similar because the configuration is going to be same. I don't want to change anything in the configuration of the host. I will just select it from here. I will say okay, actions. launch more like this. Okay, launch more like this. I will click on this. So that will skip me all those steps which I have to do earlier, and it will just create the two hosts like this. But okay, I'll have to go to some steps back. So I will be going in here, not here, sorry, type is the same. Yeah, so configure instances, number of instances. I want similar to this. I want two more instances to be created, so I make it this number 2. I'll go check the storage also. Basically, it's by default 8, so I will change it to 20. And tag this time, I will put it as a data node. Rest can remain same. So security group will same. This is also now just review it. T2.x large. Security group can be of Cloudera manager. IP addresses are same. It's going to create two instances. That is fine. Storage 20 GB. Yeah. So everything looks fine. Now I'll just launch it. We'll be using the same key pair, which is of B9, and I'll launch it. Let me check the launch log. Okay. Okay. So let me just check if all of my 3 nodes are now running. Yes. Now, so I have 2 data nodes, which is up and running. And so the only point is now we have to add these two to the cluster. So let me just pick any one and copy its private IP address. I will put that IP address. So first of all, let me just copy these two IP addresses someplace. This is my first one's IP address. This is going to be my second IP address. Okay. And so 2 steps I have to do every time I add new host. So one is I will be going to the security group. I will do the inbound rules. In here, I will now be adding another rule, which will again say all traffic. And I will give instead of custom. So yeah, I will give in this place, I will give security group name, which is actually my security group of Cloudera manager. And I will save it. Now, why is this required? Why is this step done? because now I have two more nodes in the cluster, right? So I want all the nodes, all the hosts which are using this security group of Cloudera Manager, they should be able to contact each other. Okay, so they should be able to contact in the inbound rule basically, and that's why we have given all traffic to this security group also. Because if you don't do that, all the three hosts that we created, they will not be able to contact one and the another. Okay, so I want these three should be able to contact each other, and that's why I have put the inbound one another rule in the inbound rule, which has given all traffic to the security group which these three are using. So these three are using the same common security group of Cloudera Manager. Cloudera Manager this 75, and I have placed the same thing. Okay, I have I think put some other FT9, so I need to change it. Let me just copy this out. Yeah. So I will change the inbound rules, and this should be basically, yeah, this one. Let's save it. Okay, this is done. Now the next thing, I told you that in each hosts slash etc slash host file, right, we should have the IP address and the host name. So that I'll start doing that by going to the Cloudera manager first, which I'm already there. Let me open the etc host file. I'll put in the another line the other two IP addresses and their host name. So first one is going to be this, and this. The next is going to be this, this. Okay, I'll save this file and I'll copy these three lines also, because I want to place these three lines in the other two servers also. So let me just paste it here. I'll paste these three lines in here. Now I'll have to go to the other hosts also one by one, the two new hosts that I created, starting from data node 1, copy the public IP address. Okay, so now I am on the one of the data nodes. I will become root, open the etc host file, press I. In this line, I will just paste these three lines that I copied in the other one, and I'll save this file. Similarly, I'll come out of the server. I will now go to the third server. Okay, I'll become root, Open the etc host file again, copy the 3 lines, I key, press enter, paste, escape, and save the file. Okay, so all the 3 are now done. One more thing, I'll just quickly check if I'm able to contact the other host from here. So let's bring the other host IP 72. Yeah, it says 64 bytes. So that means it's fine. I will check that from the Cloudera Manager host as well. Yeah, looks fine. 69 is also pingable. Yeah, so these 2 new IP addresses of the new host are now able to ping. I'm getting a response from the server. So basically the command to do that is ping, P-I-N-G. Okay, so that looks good. I can now add these 2 IP addresses. I can specify them here. One is 69 and another one is 72 at the end, which I'll give in the another line 72. So okay, these 2 are my new servers IP addresses. I will search them. This is currently not managed, so but they are ready. Okay, so I'll click on continue. Okay, so next thing will be same custom repository. In here I will be giving my Cloudera Manager repository this time. So I can open that from here 5.15.2. This is basically Cloudera, sorry, here 15 5.15.2. Right, so I can also copy that URL by opening this file etc yum that repos.d cm.repo. So you remember this file we created in the previous class. If you check the video, and this is the URL that I want, and I will be giving it to the here, and this can remain empty because we are not using a JPG check, only this URL, and you click continue. It's asking me if I want to install Java on these 2. I will select that and click continue. Okay, so this is going to be some other user, and that another user is basically your CentOS, the one that we ever use every time to connect, right? And since we are using this key to connect to this server, so I will also pass that key, private key. We will choose the file. So for me, that file is in documents, mobexterm, home, b9.10. It's here. I'll select it, I'll click continue. So now it's installing the Cloudera Manager agents basically on these 2 new hosts. You can see there is no need to go to the host this time and create the same steps that we did last time for the Cloudera Manager. Remember all these steps, because now it's picking these packages from my local repository, and the rest of the stuff it's doing by itself. So that's how it's very efficient to use Cloudera Manager. It's installing the agent and the other packages. If you are interested in checking what's happening at the back end, you can click on details. It will tell you what exactly it's doing. So, sometimes some of you might face some issues. So remember one thing, you have to do everything step by step that I have told. If you will miss any of the steps in between, right, you might face some issues. So follow the video religiously, follow the steps religiously, try to understand what exactly each step is doing, okay, and then only move forward. Don't just bluntly copy and paste all the commands that I have mentioned in here. Try and understand what each command is doing. What is this mkdir? I think we have discussed that in one of the sessions that had some audio issues. But yeah, these are very basic commands. Mkdir is for making a directory, and so even if you are a little bit not sure about it, just go over to that video. Although its voice is little bad, but you can get the gist of it out of the video itself without voice also. But yes, I'll also be discussing it again as a complete section on shell scripting. But the point is, if you let's say you missed a step of HTTPD, then you might not see the URL coming up. So follow the steps properly and religiously, and I can guarantee you won't face any issue. But if you do these steps by closed eyes, definitely you'll get some issues. Okay, so Cloudera Manager was installed. Now it's installing the CDH packages just like it did on the first host. Again, if you're interested in checking what exactly is happening at the backend, so var log Cloudera. If you are on the data node host, you have to go to the SCM agent, tail over Cloudera SCM agent dot log. Yeah, I think it worked and everything's fine now. We can click continue. Again, it's going to check the same thing on the two new hosts. And yes, it's going to give that issue again on the two new hosts. So I will just quickly fix it. Similarly, we'll do that on the other host. Alright, let's go back and run this inspection again. Okay, everything looks green. Click continue. I will uncheck this for now. And yes, our two new hosts are now added to the cluster. So now we have 3 nodes in this cluster. Although there is nothing of Hadoop installed on these 2 nodes, but we'll do that as and when we discuss about each service. But yes, now we have these 3 hosts available, and that's basically, we can call it as a cluster, not at the Hadoop level yet, because in the services we still have 1 host only, but we'll include more roles of the services on this newly added host as well, as and when we go ahead and discuss about each service in detail. Okay, so that's all for today, and I expect everyone to at least have 1 host cluster and this Cloudera manager appearing fine. You can ignore these alerts which you see. Okay, it might come up on your host also, but for now you can ignore it. I'll explain you why are we facing these alerts. Okay, but at least such a Cloudera manager console. So this is your manager admin's console, and this is mostly what people use every time they want to monitor or do any change on any service of Hadoop using this console itself. Okay? So if you are able to reach to this point, that means you are able to understand the next steps as well, and you are able to understand all the concepts that we have discussed so far. And 50% of your job is already done if you are able to reach this point and have 3 nodes available. Okay. Okay. So in the next class, we will be starting with HDFS, and that will depend upon if everybody has the cluster ready. If you're facing issues, we might start with a troubleshooting session. Okay, that's all for today. Any questions? Okay, so before leaving, I will just stop my 3 nodes because I don't want to incur any more cost once I'm done with it. So I've selected them. I'll click stop, and they will be stopped. Okay, so these 3 are getting stopped. Yeah. Any questions from anyone? I think you just try it out yourself, then only you might face troubles and you might have questions out of it. But yes, if anything, come back and check the video. Else you can ping me on the group as well. But yes, any questions so far? If still, Okay, so if there are no questions, just try out these steps. Try to create a cluster yourself. If everything is fine, we will move ahead with HDFS. But I won't I would want everyone to be at the same page where they have their clusters ready, and then it's better to move after that. Okay, so you have a week time, I think, till Thursday. Just try out the steps. The steps are already readily available on your drive. Okay, but yes, video will take another couple of hours. So probably by morning you will find this video ready, and you can refer that. Okay, all right. Good night, guys. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.